Hello and welcome to another episode of the Totally Unqualified podcast. Hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. I am joined by the two greatest co-hosts in the world, if I'm able to say that, because I mean I haven't been with every co-host in the world, but you know what? You guys are 1 and 2 in my heart. I'll let you decide who's 1 and who's 2. How you guys doing today?
Doing great. Had a good Halloween weekend. And it was wrapped up perfectly with the Raptors win in MSG.
Oh,
OG
shut
Anunoby
up.
career high because just beat the
Geez.
best.
He went off.
Just casually
He went
beating the
off.
best team in the East because we are that team. So let's go.
So annoying.
I'm doing pretty well. Luke, you can have one. I'll let you take it. I missed an episode. You've been here for all of them. It's only right.
Thank you, Gage.
I'm doing pretty well also. I have Wi-Fi now, so hopefully
that
will
Big
be
update.
significantly
Big update.
better. Hopefully
Big
my
update.
video doesn't lag, my audio doesn't lag, and we're good to go.
Looking great right now.
If we're talking NBA basketball, the Hornets lost to the Cavs, so I'm pissed off about that. Our interior defense is god awful, but we'll work on it.
Yeah. About that Knicks loss, they were up like I want to say 9 or something going into half, and that's when I went in the shower and I was like, all right, Knicks got this in the bag, whatever. Because before that, I was checking the score on my phone. Before that, they were up like 15. I was like, all right, so I don't have to worry about this game, whatever. We're crushing them like we should. It's an MSG, whatever. Julius Randle had 20 in the first half. I was like, this game is in the bag, like whatever. Come back third quarter. Raptors are up 10. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And then I just see OG Anunoby is like had 9 points when I went in the shower, and I come out, he's got like 28. I'm like, what the fuck? This man is single-handedly beating us. I was pissed.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, we got to learn how to close out games. We're not used to being good. We're not used to having these leads. So it's something to get used to kind of close out the game, but we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. All right.
They were going up against the 2019 NBA champs. Come on, the greatest team ever assembled.
Crazy that was only 2 years ago. Crazy.
Right. Feels like forever.
It does.
All right. As you guys know, start every episode to guess that player. It's always NFL. It's going to be another NFL player. Not going to be defense, like I told you guys off camera. It's going to be an offensive player. All right, there's your first hint. All right, you ready?
Absolutely.
Ready. Let's do this. By the way, just an update here. I am leading 13 to 12 to 3. So just keep that in mind. All right, here we go. He attended Ole Miss for college. Okay. Man, this might give it away. He was a Pro Bowler last year. He was a 2017 first rounder.
Oh man,
you guys.
AJ Brown.
No. Yeah. So 2017 first rounder, Ole Miss, Pro Bowler last year. Although he had 11 dropped passes.
DK Metcalf.
No.
Ole Miss.
Evan Engram.
Yes, it is Evan Engram.
He went to Ole Miss.
He went to Ole Miss, yeah.
He's the worst. The absolute worst. I still will never get over the fact that he made the Pro Bowl over Robert Tonyan last year. And Robert Tonyan isn't even that special.
Hey, you guys almost had him today.
Yeah, it was on him. I would have been upset. Not gonna lie. I would have rather
reports that Packers wanted to trade for Evan Engram.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very glad they didn't. I would have rather had a guy like Fletcher Cox that'll actually make an impact. But yeah, I don't hate Evan Engram, but just the fact that he made the Pro Bowl last year really just will never sit well with me. And yeah, you know what? I have a vendetta out for him now because of that.
Yeah, I feel like it won't. It was a very confusing select. The Pro Bowl is kind of stupid at this point because it's literally just a popularity contest. And the replacements, like the people that don't play, a couple years ago was Mitchell Trubisky was a replacement. I was like, when the fuck did that come from?
That's when the credibility of the Pro Bowl just went down the drain.
Yeah, like 3 years ago, I think Andy Dalton was in it. I was like, what? Bengals were not good. So it's just a very confusing selection process that's definitely just completely it just doesn't make sense. All pro teams are more notable. All like you shouldn't brag about Pro Bowls. All pro teams are the ones that actually matter.
Yep.
All right. And if you guys are listening on Apple Podcasts or YouTube, be sure to give us that 5-star rating, give us a like down below, subscribe for more content. We do really appreciate it. It pushes it out to even more people so we can, grab even more fans' attention, get some more fans of the Totally Unqualified podcast, get some more people as a member of the TU crew.
Mm-hmm.
So some pretty unfortunate news today. It kind of sucks to kind of, we're kind of, this podcast usually has a very positive tone. We try to make things, try to have a fun time on here, but there comes times where we do need to discuss some things that are rather unfortunate. And this is just too big of news for us not to discuss it. I'm sure everybody heard that Henry Ruggs, Las Vegas Raiders receiver, first round pick last year, was involved in a DUI this morning in a car accident that has resulted in a fatality for somebody in the other car. So kind of just want to get your guys' thoughts about that.
Okay, I'll go first.
Sorry, my bad. I just said something.
It's definitely, like you said, very unfortunate. You hate to see, obviously, a death in the situation, but it's even worse that it comes off of just such a terrible, terrible decision by Henry Ruggs, because not only is his life now pretty much over because he's likely going to face prison time over this. In the state of Nevada, it's 2 to 20 years for a DUI that results in a fatality. But not just that. I mean, somebody lost their life, and not just that person lost their life, but their loved ones lost somebody that is, I'm sure, very dear to them. So it's just I can't stress enough how much drinking and driving is just stupid. Like I will never understand how people make that decision, why people make that decision. I have been intoxicated my fair share of times, and I've never even once thought, you know what, it'll be fine, let me just drive or something like that. Make a plan ahead of time. Or if you don't, or if you're not able to make a plan ahead of time, then there's ways around it. Call a friend, call a family member, get hooked up with an Uber or something like that. Figure something out, but don't drive.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, just terrible decision. Terrible decision making overall in every aspect of it. I see a lot of people on Twitter saying what's going to happen to Henry Ruggs' career. That is irrelevant. It couldn't be more irrelevant at this point in time. I hate to break it to you, his career is most likely over in the NFL. If that's probably just the minimal of or the minimum of what's going to happen to him. Like you said, 2 to 20 years in prison time in Nevada for a crime like this. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. Obviously thoughts and prayers go out to the victim and their family, because a life should not have been taken in this instance right here. And it's just poor decision-making is what caused somebody to lose their life. Apparently it was a 23-year-old woman who lost their life on the other side of the car. His girlfriend was in the car with him, sustained serious injuries as well. It's a tough situation. It's kind of hard to talk about too. When I saw it on Twitter, I was shocked. I was like trying to get more information, because it's like ever since Kobe died, I feel like you always, when it's like TMZ reporting things like that, especially, you can never trust the first reports. You got to wait till other things come out, but they did. And it's just tough to talk about, just a bad situation overall. Rest in peace to the victim, because they should be living to see another day, and they should be with us right now, but poor decision making.
Yeah. I was watching kind of the Pat McAfee show, and Pat kind of had a good way to put this situation. He just said, imagine it happened at around, I think it was like 3:45 in the morning that the report said. He said, imagine what was going on in those cars at like 3:15, 3:20, just everybody's having a good time. And then just one split second, and that girl lost her life, and it shouldn't have happened. It was a split second decision by Henry Ruggs that he probably thought was no big deal. He might have even, I don't want to accuse him of anything, but somebody that drove home drunk has probably done it before. And he probably thought, I've done it before, it's probably okay, whatever. Didn't think twice about it. And that one decision That one decision has changed his life forever in a split second, guys. It is not worth it. I can't stress this enough. Like Gage said, we got Uber, Lyft, everything you can imagine nowadays. We got cell phones. You can call up somebody. If worse comes to worse, just walk. Like, I don't like, or just find somewhere to crash. Like, this man was like, he has so much money. Like, you had options. Like, you cannot tell me that you did not have options. So it's just a very, very dumb decision on his part. This is not to say that Henry Ruggs is a bad person by any means. I'm sure I mean, he did not mean to do this. I think we can all agree on that. Like, there's no way in hell he meant to do this, but it was just a very irresponsible decision. And, he's going to have to face this for the rest of his life, that, one irresponsible decision that he made and took no more than 10 seconds to decide, change his life forever. So just keep that in mind, guys. Don't do it. It's just, there's no way in hell it's worth it. Just spend a couple of bucks on the Uber. It's not a big deal. It is not a big deal.
I just want to add something else real quick. Stop fucking talking about fantasy football.
Yes.
In this situation. Oh, when you see something like this happen, when you see somebody get injured or a situation like this where somebody's life was lost or something like that, stop fucking talking about fantasy football. Nobody cares that you had him on your team. Nobody cares whether or not you think you should drop him. Stop trying to be a fucking comedian. It's not funny.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's well put.
Completely agree. That was pissing me off too.
Yeah.
I think the fantasy doctors, were like updating the story with some TikTok videos, and like the comments were all, well, should I drop it? And they're responding like, I don't really think that's the point right now. Like, that's not really, like, seriously, somebody lost their life and all you're thinking about is your fantasy team. Like, come on, guys. Like, I know fantasy football is fun. I know we all love it, but there are things bigger in life than fantasy football. You need to understand that. Snap back to reality here.
Yeah, no doubt. I do want to point out just before we move on that it's weird the way things work in life. After every touchdown, Henry Ruggs would take a knee in the end zone in solidarity for his best friend who lost their life in a car accident. And like we said, just one irresponsible decision just changes his whole life. His whole journey is going to be, looked back on, and it's going to be this. It's just very unfortunate that we're even talking about this right now, because he had aspirations of being one of the best deep threats in the NFL, but that's irrelevant now, in all honesty.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's enough negativity for today. We're going to move on. Obviously, that victim will always be in our thoughts and prayers from this moment on. But let's get to some more positive topics here. Trade deadline was today. Got to be honest, not a lot of action. We had some action yesterday, which was probably the biggest news of the trade deadline this year. Von Miller is headed from the Broncos to the Rams. Super Bowl MVP going to the Rams, a Rams defense that I'm sure a lot of us didn't think could get any better.
Yeah.
They just got a little better. So I'm going to go to you, Luke. What did you think about this trade?
I mean, the Rams are definitely in win now mode. I think, yep. I think everybody thinks that right now. To go out and make a power play like this, of this stature, getting a former Super Bowl MVP, getting one of the best edge rushers, not even of just like this decade, of all time, really. I mean, 111 sacks since 2011.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they now have the person with the most sacks since entering the league in 2011 and 2014 in Von Miller and Aaron Donald. Top that off, they have the best cornerback in the league, hands down, in Jalen Ramsey. And it's honestly unfair. It's honestly unfair. This Rams team is stacked. Absolutely. They very well could be the best team in the NFC. There's a lot of contenders in the NFC this year. It's going to be a dogfight come playoff time. But man, this is a power play. I really hope Von Miller is not wearing number 40 though, because I see all these graphics saying with him, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and he's wearing the number 40. I hate things like that. That's sickening. Give him number 58. But yeah, this was definitely a power play. Although Von Miller is not like a huge impact player anymore. Well, he is, but like he doesn't get the stats and sack numbers that he used to in his prime. Really, he's just as effective pressuring the quarterback. And you know what? If you're not going to be doubling Aaron Donald, you're going to have to be doubling Von Miller. It's one of the two. Pick your poison. And Leonard Floyd coming off the other edge. It's going to be rough times in the NFC West for some of these quarterbacks.
Gage,
Yeah.
before you go, I just want to mention 59 minutes ago, Von Miller gets permission to wear Elroy Hirsch's number 40. So he will officially be wearing number 40 for the Rams.
I mean, seeing him in a Rams jersey, for one, is going to feel absolutely wrong because he's been a staple on the Broncos for so long. But then also seeing him in number 40 is just going to make it even worse.
Yep.
But I think that everything that you said was absolutely correct. I mean, you've got him on the line with a guy like Aaron Donald, who commands 2-3 different players at a time just to guard him. Then you've got Von Miller coming off trying to get to the quarterback as well. I mean, that defense is just going to be, it went from scary to scarier. And that's all you can really say about it. Like, Von Miller is still an asset, and they went out and got him. I don't think Sean McVay has any picks left. I don't think there's any more draft picks for the Los Angeles Rams. I think this was the last of them. I don't know. They're not even going to be involved in draft day anymore at this point. But yeah, they're Super Bowl or bust right now. And I think that they're doing a great job of loading that team up.
Yeah, it was crazy because I mean, you kind of got the feeling that Vaughn was their franchise player. You know, he's gonna retire as a Bronco. He's gonna be with the Broncos forever. He had a very emotional interview coming after he got traded. You could tell he loves Denver and he loves that city, and he'll forever be a Bronco. But yeah, in terms of the Rams, I mean, this team, it would be crazy not to consider them the Super Bowl favorites at this point. I mean, as good as the Bills are doing, as good as the Cardinals are doing, as good as all these teams are doing, the Rams are just loaded on every aspect of it. And it's crazy that we're saying, okay, they're in win now mode. And usually we know how win now modes go in the NFL. You know, if you don't win it, it seems like every team that, you know, is in win now mode, but ends up not winning the Super Bowl, things go wrong. Those teams fall apart like that. The Rams were in the Super Bowl, what, 2-3 years ago? And they just rebuilt everything. It seemed like it kind of fell apart a little bit. 2-3 years, they're back to being this Super Bowl contender. Like, it's crazy. This is just such a well-run organization. Sean McVay is the real deal. He's going to have this team coached up. That defense is fucking terrifying. No matter, even if it is just 80% of what Von Miller was at one point, that's still terrifying for offensive linemen. But yeah, I am actually pretty happy that the Seahawks are not relevant at this point, because if I had to fight for a playoff chance against this team, that would pretty much just tear my heart and soul out, because that would be excruciating to watch, especially with the just joking offensive line that the Seahawks have had over the years. But yeah, if the Rams weren't already the Super Bowl favorite, pretty sure this solidifies them as the Super Bowl favorite in my eyes, and I'm sure the eyes of many.
Yeah, bold take right here. Those draft picks that they sent to Denver are going to be Green Bay's in about 5 months. So
Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. Those are going to be the Green Bay Packers, and they're going to be some terrible position picks if the Rams make it out of the NFC.
Yeah, so that would be I mean, almost happened on draft day last year, so wouldn't be the craziest thing. All right. Probably the other most notable trade, as I think there were only a couple. Melvin Ingram to the Chiefs. Melvin Ingram has been dealt to the Chiefs from the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you did remember that he was on the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I didn't. I thought he was injured or something. That's how irrelevant he was this season. He's been dealt to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 6th-round pick. Gage, will go to you. What are you thinking of this trade here?
I guess it can't really be a horrible move for the Chiefs because they obviously need defensive help. I think that Melvin Ingram probably still has some in the tank. But in the Steelers defense, he just wasn't really doing much. He had 10 tackles on the year so far and 1 sack, wasn't really getting in there a whole lot. I think they mostly had him for depth at this point. Honestly, as far as the Steelers go, I don't know why you trade him, because you kind of need the linebacker depth. He wasn't really doing much for you, but it's still nice to have the guy there, especially with the amount of injuries that they've dealt with and stuff like that. And you lose a guy like Bud Dupree in free agency and everything. So I don't know. I mean, I trust Mike Tomlin to obviously have the defense coached up and then be able to perform anyway. But I think that this is, while a notable trade for the day, not a huge deal. Melvin Ingram could help the Chiefs. He could be irrelevant. We'll just have to see. I'm not really sure at this point based on his production so far this season.
Yeah, I'm in the same exact boat. I mean, Melvin Ingram really wasn't doing anything for the Steelers. 1 sack on the year, 6 quarterback hits on the year. And in a few of the past games, he hasn't really been utilized all too much. I mean, playing 26% of the snaps last week, and then 60 the week before, and 49 the week before that. So it's going down. It's fluctuating a little bit. But there was just no room on that team, really. The timeline of that team, I still think the Steelers are still believe that they can make the playoffs and maybe even make a run with their defense. I'm sure that they can. And Melvin Ingram's timeline of his career just wasn't really lining up with theirs. And he just wasn't really effective. So you know what? The Chiefs needed any help that they could get on the defense. Might as well throw a 6th-round pick for Melvin Ingram. I'm in the same boat where I don't think he's going to be effective, or definitely not as effective as he could have been earlier in his career. Definitely not at 32 years old. But you know what? The Chiefs literally would take anything that they could get at this point, because anything is better than what they're putting out on the field on a weekly basis. I cannot believe they only beat the Giants by 3 last night. We'll get to that in a little bit, but this team is just not, it's not recognizable, and they had to go out and get somebody. So might as well throw in at Melvin Ingram, right?
Yeah. I mean, Melvin Ingram, I was shocked to hear this news, because I forgot that Melvin Ingram had signed with the Steelers. And secondly, I can't believe that he was healthy and putting up, what do you have, 1 sack this year? This is a man. This is a man that was in the best pass rusher in the league conversation like 2 years ago. Not even which is crazy. So you thought going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, like crazy defense, TJ Watt on the other side, like he's going to dominate. And that just doesn't happen. So I don't know if this is I think he's like 32 years old. So he is getting up there. So I'm wondering if this is, kind of the beginning of the end for Melvin Ingram, but he's going to get plenty of chances in Kansas City. I can tell you that much. I mean, they got nothing else there. So I don't know. Yeah, I agree with Luke that this is kind of just, shot in the dark. Maybe he pans out, maybe he doesn't. Can't really get much worse than that middle school defense they got right now. So hopefully it works out for the Chiefs, and it'd be nice to see Melvin Ingram get going again, because he is a force when he's on.
Yeah.
All right, guys. By the way, if you haven't already, please go ahead and download the Overtime app. All right. It's an awesome app. Just download the new update today. It is clean. All right. They got scores scrolling past the top of it, scrolling across the top of it. They just completely redid the polls section. It is, just the transformation of this app from the second it was released to now is just insane. And they got even more features coming that we may or may not be involved in. Little teaser there. Maybe stay tuned for that. So if you guys do want to be a part of that and experience just the amazingly awesome, I don't use that. Was that an adjective? Adjective and an adverb there. I just threw 2 English class staples at you right there. Some Mad Libs out here. I don't use
journalism.
Yeah, exactly. I don't use those describing words lightly, guys. This app is awesome. If you do want to support the channel, go and use our link in our TikTok bios and any of our totally unqualified bios. It does support the channel, and it helps us push more content out to you guys. So go ahead and download that. All right. Week 8 of the NFL is just over. We had some pretty damn good games, pretty eventful things happened. Let's just start out. I know Gage wants to talk about this one. I know he's dying to talk about it. The Saints did defeat the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And in that game, Jameis Winston tore his ACL. So they won the game with Trevor Siemian as their starting quarterback. If you don't remember Trevor Siemian, 7th-round pick by the Broncos. Pretty sure he filled in after Peyton Manning left. Did some good things there. Back up for Jameis. So with that said, I will shoot it over to you, Luke, to start us off here.
All right. Thought we were gonna start with Gage, but all right.
That was a little misdirection there.
A little misdirection. Gage,
yeah.
You gotta wait a little bit. The Saints defense. I mean, all the credit in the world. They're the only team, the only defense that's really given Tom Brady fits like every single time that they've played. Even in the playoffs, it wasn't like they had an easy road in New Orleans there. It's unfortunate what happened to Jameis. Tore his ACL and had damage to his MCL, I believe, which is it's a blow to this team because you don't want to necessarily have Trevor Siemian starting for you. I don't know if they're gonna switch over to Taysom Hill. or if they're going to keep him in his role and start Trevor Siemian moving forward. But I expect some quarterback play out of Taysom Hill, at least, in some sort of package, some sort of way, the next couple weeks. And it is a blow because this team can make the playoffs. This team, honestly, if the season started right now, they would make the playoffs. And their defense is the strong point of this team, which is kind of crazy to say after the 2010s and all the seasons of mediocrity. I said in our group chat, the Packers and the Saints have two of the top 5 defenses in the NFL. Like, it's crazy to see. But yeah, the Bucs weren't all in sync. Of course, they had injuries on the offense. Defensively, their secondary is a mess. But offensively, they were without Gronk again. They were without Antonio Brown. And those two guys, like, I feel like are maybe even a little bit more important than having Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Because Gronk, of course, has always been Brady's right-hand man. He's always going to throw it to him when times are rough. And then AB has been trusted by Tom Brady since he was in New England for like a couple hours that one time. So though I feel like those guys are more impactful to this offense than Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And for that, you weren't able to see this team at their full disposal offensively. And then they just couldn't get a run game. Leonard Fournette had a bad game. Giovanni Bernard had a touchdown pass or touchdown catch, but didn't really do anything otherwise. This Bucs team is vulnerable. You play great defense against them, and they're easier to beat. And you know what? The Saints did that, and they got a dub on Sunday.
I just know that Tom Brady is waking up in absolute cold sweats when he has to face the Saints at this point. He has to be, because our defense just finds a way every single time. We're getting to the quarterback. We're getting turnovers. We had 3 turnovers in this game. There's, of course, the fumble that Cameron Jordan forced when he shoved the tackle back into Tom Brady, making him fumble the ball. David Onyemata jumps on it in his first game back. We got Mark Ingram back. We've got Alvin Kamara going. Michael Thomas will likely be back within the next couple of weeks. It really, really sucks that Jameis Winston will be out the remainder of the season. I know a lot of Saints fans are still a little bit iffy about him, but I think the overwhelming majority that I'm seeing are like, look, we're warmed up to Jameis at this point. Like, we want him to be the franchise guy. We think that he can be. All these people are still questioning him because of the whole 30 interception season. And I get that, like, you should, but through 7 games, he played, well, I guess 6 and a part of a game, he played extremely well. He didn't play so well against the Panthers, but every other game he played well. He only has 3 interceptions on the season. So I really want to see him come back healthy and be our guy going forward. As far as what we're going to do now, I really think that Trevor Siemian will be the starter. I think that Sean Payton's going to want to stick with him. That way we can continue to use Taysom Hill as our gadget guy, especially with us not having many weapons. We don't end up getting a receiver today before the deadline, which sucks. We tried to get Odell, but couldn't get a deal. This defense is fantastic. This is the best Saints defense I have ever seen in all my years of watching football. And I just, that's not even like me exaggerating or anything like that. And this is the unit that I thought was going to be weak on this team. I thought the offense would be fine and the defense was going to struggle. It's completely flipped the other way around. Like, I watched us go 7-9 3 years in a row with one of the best quarterbacks of all time at the helm because our defense was absolutely atrocious. The defense is extremely good right now. I will say for the Buccaneers, this wasn't their game. I mean, obviously the turnovers didn't help anything, and you can credit our defense for that. But they did have, like, I think almost 100 yards and penalties as well. Yep. They were struggling in a lot of ways. They were beating themselves just as much as we were beating them. So I think as far as us going forward, we are going to have to make some adjustments because not every team we face is going to have those penalties and stuff to help us out and work in our favor. But I think that with Sean Payton being the offensive mastermind that he is, he can scheme some things up for Trevor Siemian to have him be good enough as a game manager going forward. I mean, the 2006 Bears made the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman at the helm because they had the third best defense in points allowed. We currently have the second best defense in points allowed. So I have faith. It's going to be rough, but hopefully we can work it out.
Yeah. Bucks definitely did not play well. I agree that the Saints definitely have Tom Brady's number. He's got to hate going down to the Bayou to play them. But yeah, I mean, Trevor Siemian looked fantastic coming in for Jameis Winston. Definitely not an easy situation to just come in and play. I mean, you're going up against the Super Bowl champions, one of the best defenses in the league, arguably. So that's definitely not an easy situation to go into, let alone without your number one option and Michael Thomas still not back. So very tough situation for Trevor Siemian. He handled it like a champ, played really well. I gotta agree that I think he'll be the starting quarterback going forward. Maybe sprinkle in a little Taysom Hill. Sean Payton's gonna have to get creative. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna have to get creative with this offense going forward. But other than that, Gage kind of said it all. Saints look good. This defense looks insane. And this team can still sneak into the playoffs. They can. I don't know if they'll do anything in the playoffs. Maybe they can knock the Bucs out early if they do end up drawing them. But it's definitely going to be interesting. Keep an eye on this team for the rest of the season.
Since 2019, with quarterbacks other than Drew Brees, we're 13-3. Just by the way.
Ooh, that 5-0 stretch by Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh yeah,
that's a stat.
Remember that? All right.
I just want to say, isn't it crazy that Kevin White is on this team and he's their leading receiver? Like
we just brought him up from the practice squad before that game, and then he made that catch.
Times are rough when Kevin White is your number one receiver in a game.
Earlier in the season, we fucking brought back Kenny Stills for like his third stint with the team. So we're struggling.
Kevin White was one of those guys where, like, if you watch him in college, you're like, holy, this guy's going to be insane in the NFL. And the Bears took him like
never panned out.
I want to see.
Yeah.
It was the injuries, though. He got injured early in this first training camp, and then got injured the next year again. And then just he couldn't get his legs underneath him. It sucks. That guy could have been insane if not for the injuries. But anyway, let's move on to another pretty fun game to watch. We got the Titans defeating the Colts 34-31. Both quarterbacks, I don't want to say played like shit, but just about. Both had a couple of INTs on the stat line there, made it way closer than it had to be. And very, very unfortunate news for not only his fantasy football owners, but pretty much just NFL fans in general. Derrick Henry had to get some foot surgery. He is pretty much out for the rest of the season, barring, I think it was like a 6 to 10 week recovery time.
Yeah.
So he could end up coming back for the end of the season playoffs, but we don't know. It's most likely that he's out for the season. So Gage, do you have anything to say about this game and the Derrick Henry injury?
Yeah, I mean, I picked the Colts to win this game. Obviously, they lose it in a very close one. They start off a couple scores up, and then they let the Titans come back. A.J. Brown, despite having a slow start to the season, is still A.J. Brown, ladies and gentlemen. He's absolutely been going off the past few games. I think he had like 90-some yards a couple weeks ago. Then he's had 100 the past couple weeks. So Ryan Tannehill is getting him the ball, even with Julio Jones not being able to play or not being at full capacity right now. The Titans, without Derrick Henry going forward, though, it's a little worrisome for me. Like they have a decent enough passing game. AJ Brown is obviously going to continue to do big things, I think, but I just don't know how Ryan Tannehill will perform without the play action there for him, or without the big guy in the back to hand the ball off to. They did sign Adrian Peterson to their practice squad, but I think that he's going to be more so for depth. I think that Jeremy McNichols is going to have to step up and be the starter going forward, and he's looked okay. But obviously Derrick Henry is getting the majority of the touches, so we don't really know what he's capable of just yet. We'll have to see. Not looking good for the Titans going forward. The Colts still not quite out of the race. Like they're in decent enough position that if they can win some games, they can come back and potentially secure a playoff spot, maybe the 7 seed or something, but they got to figure some things out. Carson Wentz has to stop making these boneheaded plays like he made in this game.
Yeah, the Titans were extremely lucky to have played the Colts this week and beat them. Because if you're coming into next week with this Derrick Henry injury and you have to play the Colts again, potentially, you're leaving the door wide open for them to come back and, steal this division, which they very well can. They very well can. I think this team is talented enough to do so. I said I gave up on them a couple weeks ago. And now Derrick Henry is injured and the whole landscape of the AFC South changes. Derrick Henry wasn't just like the best player on the Titans. He wasn't just the best player in the AFC South. He very well could have been the best player in the NFL this season. He's still leading the league in rushing yards, and he's probably going to do so for the next 3 to 4 weeks. He has 960 plus rushing yards right now. Next is Jonathan Taylor with like 630. It's crazy. I know his usage rate is out the door, but like, if he's that good, why not give him the ball every single time? This Adrian Peterson signing, it's not going to be significant. At least I don't think. They just need to keep their identity offensively. They need to be able to run the ball, run power plays through the offensive line in order to keep their identity, to set up some of the play action passes for Ryan Tannehill. This was the Ryan Tannehill game. Although he had 2 interceptions, did throw for 3 touchdowns, led them down when he needed to. And, the Colts defense held Derrick Henry in check for majority of the game. He had 28 carries for 68 yards. Did you guys see the play that he hurt himself on? I didn't even.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't even
out.
know that he got hurt until I saw that he left the field and then came back, but I didn't hear until after the game was over that he had suffered a serious injury.
That's crazy. Derrick Henry coming back on a broken foot playing running back. Yeah, that's wild. I think the door is open for the Colts to come back and win this division. But it's all contingent on how Ryan Tannehill plays. The Titans are the number 1 seed right now. I picked Ryan Tannehill to win MVP. The door is open for that now too. Ryan Tannehill's got to play like an MVP to get this team far.
Yeah. Just a fun fact real quick. I feel like I'm just the fun facts guy at this point. Since 2018, Adrian Peterson actually has more rushes of 20 plus yards than Christian McCaffrey does.
That makes sense.
Wow.
That makes sense.
Kind of wild.
McCaffrey's been hurt.
That is
crazy. Yeah. With Washington and with Detroit. Crazy.
What yardage? I'm going to pose this question to you guys. What amount of yardage and the total yards would Adrian Peterson have to get for you guys to be thoroughly impressed for the rest of the season? End of the season, how many yards did Adrian Peterson rush for where you're holy shit, this guy did this at 36 years old? What the fuck? But is realistic.
Yeah. So we're about to go into week 9.
I'm going to go 450.
Yeah, I was going to say 500-600, somewhere around in there. I think I'd be damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say 400 to 500. I'd be holy shit. I'm expecting 300 out of Adrian Peterson at this age. Unless they're handing him the ball 35 times like they were at Derrick Henry, then maybe we can get it up there a little bit.
Yeah.
But this offense was clearly, everybody in the NFL knew it was just run heavy, but they couldn't stop it, so they kept doing it because you have Derrick freaking Henry. But yeah, it's definitely going to take a hit. Jeremy McNichols is notorious for being the rookie running back that got cut on Hard Knocks with the Buccaneers a couple years ago. But he, so we got to see what he can do. Adrian Peterson is probably just a veteran presence. He can get those tough yardage for, 2 or 3 yards. If it's a 3rd and short, I guess you put him in for that and goal line situations. Maybe he's your main go-to guy, but I feel like they're going to try and see how Jeremy's doing, how he can handle the load. But yeah, I mean, this is the biggest hit the Titans could have taken. I would argue that this is more of a hit than if Ryan Tannehill got injured.
100%. 100%.
This offense runs through Derrick Henry, no pun intended. He is the best running back in the league, and I think he's making a serious gap between him and number 2. It used to be an argument when Christian McCaffrey was staying healthy. Usually a lot of people had C-Mac at number 1. Dalvin Cook put his name up there over the last couple of years. It is Derrick Henry, and there is there's some yardage between him and number 2 at this point. He is insane. He is completely unstoppable. The man was on. It sucks because he was on pace to have another 2,000-yard rushing season and just cement his name in the history books. Cement himself as a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's not going to get the chance to do that. He is still in his prime, so he'll have the chance next year. But just a terrible, terrible thing for the Titans. But they're going to have to adapt and overcome. Crazy that they have the number 1 seed. I could not believe that.
Yeah, right.
With how great the Bills have been playing, with how great the Ravens have been playing. I assume it's just because they haven't had a bye week yet that they're the number 1 seed. I would imagine that's the reason.
The Bengals, which we're about to get to, also lost to the Jets.
That too. But yeah, just to kind of get to the game, this was the first kind of nostalgic Carson Wentz game that we've seen all year. Just that kind of reminded us of, okay, this is why the Eagles wanted to move on from not that he played terrible, but he just made some interceptions that you just can't throw. You can't throw this. The one in overtime, you can't throw a pick there. Carson, you can't do it. Yeah. So Obviously, he hasn't had a game like that pretty much all season. So we'd hope that this isn't a regular thing. But at this point, it's going to be all up to, Ryan Tannehill. Getting Julio Jones back now in that offense is bigger than ever.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have Julio back. AJ Brown is fucking balling right now. It is crazy that I was one of the people that was doubting him, but I will never again. The man got his feet underneath him. He's 100% healthy now, and he's just rolling. Titans need that to continue. Their defense hasn't been doing much. But as for the Colts, yeah, a little bit of a sloppy game, especially from Carson. But Michael Pittman continues to get better. Jonathan Taylor's a stud. This team, if Carson Wentz just doesn't have a game like that, which again, like I said, he really hasn't all season. They're a lock to win this division at this point. Derrick Henry was the sole thing keeping the Titans in this. So this is the Colts division for the taking, because we all know the Jaguars and Texans are not doing anything in this division. So nobody has to worry about that. They might as well relegate to the CFL at this point. But so sloppy game for both teams. Sucks the Titans lost Derrick Henry, but the Colts probably aren't too mad right now.
Yeah. 2 notes here real quick. One, Michael Pittman is becoming the number 1 receiver that we all thought he would be right before our eyes. 10 catches, 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He gets better and better each week. And secondly, I know he's not necessarily a scheme fit, but there's no way in hell I'm ever calling up Adrian Peterson at the age of 36 before I call up Todd Gurley. Like, there's just no way. And I know Todd Gurley is not at all what he used to be, but you're gonna opt to go with a 36-year-old who hasn't really played. He didn't play last year, hasn't really played all too much the past couple years. I don't know.
I think they also brought in Deontay Foreman, and I definitely wouldn't bring him in before Todd Gurley.
Yeah,
is Todd Gurley? Did he even play last year though?
Yeah, he was on the Falcons and he sucked.
Was he on the Falcons? Oh yeah, he was on the Falcons.
Their line also blew though. Like their line was terrible.
Yeah.
So he finished last year with 195 carries, 678 rushing yards, 3.5 yards per carry. So that's not atrocious, but we all know that Todd Gurley has a degenerative knee condition though. So did they even bring him in? Like, do you know if they brought him in for a physical or anything?
The last I heard anything about Todd Gurley was when he had a workout with the Ravens, which was before they even had like their injuries and stuff. So that was a while ago. But you bring up a good point about his knees though, because like, even though Adrian Peterson is old, Todd Gurley's knees are probably just as old at this point.
Yeah.
So okay, I'll give that to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley I thought they would have gone after Marlon Mack. They still had the time to do it. They had a day to be like, all right, let's just go after Marlon Mack with everything.
Colts aren't going to trade within division.
That's a fair point, but I don't know if you get a good pick for it. I feel like I would trade Marlon Mack at that point, because Marlon Mack's not going to push them into the playoffs like Derrick Henry would.
If I'm like the Colts, though, no, I can't.
I wouldn't be trading to Titans.
You just beat me, and your star running back is out. Let me just gift you a running back to try and help you win this division over me. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Oh man, I guess so. If it's any other team, you think they go after Marlon Mack though?
I'd hope so.
I would think so. I was kind of expecting him to be traded today.
Yeah, so
I was too 100%. He's going to get released at the end of the season by this point. He might get cut. Well,
he's a free agent anyway, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They only signed him to a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
That's going to be an easy pickup for somebody.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's just stupid. Marlon Mack, like in the couple games he's actually seen the field, he's had some juice on some plays. He's gotten some big runs.
Has like 1,000-yard season.
Exactly. It's this guy that was a 1,000-yard rusher. And in a year where I think literally every starting running back in the NFL has been injured. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Think of every starting running back in the NFL.
Alvin Kamara has not been injured
Alvin Kamara is the only one I can think of that hasn't been injured. But everybody else, I'm pretty sure.
I think Aaron Jones has been injured, but I'm not 100% sure.
Like, even banged up one game, like that counts.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
there's been a
90%. Yeah, like 90% of the NFL has had a running back sit out at least one game.
Marlon Mack would look pretty good with those 12s, I think.
Honestly, bring him in. Alex Collins. I mean, I don't know whether to blame him or Geno Smith. Hey, we got a dub this week though, so I'm not going to be pissed about Alex Collins. I'm not like mad. I'm happy Seahawks fan right now. I'm good. 3-5, basically in the hunt for the playoffs at this point. We have one of the hardest divisions in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and I tagged you in that Russell Wilson tweet, and you broke down in Walmart and cried because he's coming back. So
tears of joy. Russell Wilson is notorious for just getting rehab at like crazy hours of the night. He had a story a couple years ago, I want to say 3-4 years ago, where like he was supposed to, like, he should have sat out a game. He was calling up trainers at like 3-4 a.m. having a sleep schedule of like half hour on, half hour training of just to be able to play in the next game and not end his starting streak. Like, this man is crazy when it comes to
doesn't he spend like millions of dollars a year
doing
on
Tom Brady
like
thing.
Health and training?
Exactly.
Shit? Yeah.
Russell Wilson is honestly another person I can see playing until he's 45. Like, at this point, like Aaron Rodgers is not slowing down. He's going to play into his 40s. I mean, like we're starting to see quarterbacks going to be able to do it. Like, it's not something that's unheard of anymore. Tom Brady broke the barrier. I guess Brett Favre kind of broke the barrier with 40-year-old quarterbacks, but Tom Brady blew the doors off of it.
Yeah,
and
it's not even a question anymore.
Not even like this man's in MVP talks at 44 years old.
While we're on the subject real quick, I'm going to be a homer again. Drew Brees tweeted earlier. Did you guys hear who's coming back to the big game? And we have no idea what's going on.
Okay,
I don't think he'll come back. But
big game means Super Bowl. They just can't say Super Bowl without any copyright infringement. So I'm starting to think that maybe that means he's just like going to the Super Bowl to do something.
Maybe. I don't know. But like Saints fans were flipping out about it. I don't think it means anything. I don't think he'll come back. I don't want him to, because he's definitely not in football shape. He's just going to get hurt.
Well, who do the Saints play next week?
The Falcons.
Is that a Sunday night
shouldn't
game?
be really. And then they have a bye week, right?
I don't know. We already had our bye week. After that, we played the Titans.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I mean, those aren't terrible teams. I wouldn't be worried about like this.
Yeah, I'm not really all that. Like I was saying earlier, like our defense is so good that I think that they can definitely carry us. And I have enough faith in Sean Payton, more so than Trevor Siemian, to bring up a game plan that will be comfortable.
I heard Philip Rivers was in the conversation too.
Yeah. What the?
Absolutely not.
Maybe.
We never said anything about Philip Rivers. The Saints never showed interest.
Philip Rivers said something about
Philip Rivers was like, if they call, I'll listen. Well, I love you, Philip Rivers, but we're not fucking calling.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for one of these years for somebody to call up Andrew Luck and be like, hey, you want to come back? Like, do you?
I'm sure the Colts have been doing that for a couple of years.
Like every night. Oh my gosh, what's their GM's name? Chris Ballard just calling him up, just like, hey Andrew, just want to check in. You still set on retire? All right. Have a good day.
Jim
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Just pulls up to his house on the weekends. He's like, hey, what you doing, bud?
Every time Carson Wentz throws a stupid interception, he's always on his phone texting like, you ready?
You see that? I don't know. Any pointers for him? Maybe you could come in and just show him how to throw a ball. I don't know. Why don't you just suit up while you're at it? Oh my gosh. Andrew Luck said, oh man, just such a talented guy who didn't sucks to happen to him. All right. Anyway, this we are talking about games that happened this week. So let's move on to probably the craziest game of the week, because craziest things happen. Mike White, the Western Kentucky product himself, leads the New York Jets over the number 1 seed Cincinnati Bengals, who were rolling. Gage, I know you wrote in the outline, is he better than Zach Wilson? But I am not. I can't say that. Like, come on. Like, no. But what? Gage, I guess I'll go to you. What did you think of this game?
I'm not saying outright that he is better than Zach Wilson off of one game, but I feel like it's a legitimate quarterback controversy for them right now.
No.
I think it is. Okay. They play the Colts this week. Obviously, we're going to get into our picks and everything for that a little bit later, because it is the Thursday night game. And then after that, I forget don't they play the Rams? I think I want to say they play the Rams. Yikes. If they were to win like one of these games with Mike White, one of them, are you like, because it's the same offense. It's the same scheme. They didn't change anything for Mike White. They just brought him in and ran him in Zach Wilson's offense, and he played well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not just trying to kick Zach Wilson to the curb, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just I kind of just find it hard to believe because, like, yes, Mike White hasn't been a starter. He has no starting experience, but he's been in the league since 2018. He's been on a team since 2018, so he's comfortable in the NFL. Like, as much as he hasn't started, he's played. You got to take into account that's 4 preseasons that he's played in. That's 4 times he's been under NFL coaching, and just like he's comfortable with the game. I just think Zach Wilson, you need to continue to play because he just needs the experience. But that's just me. Luke, you can go ahead.
The Jets are who I thought the Lions were going to be, like a well-coached team that I've been saying is gonna beat good teams for like weeks now. The Lions, by the way, we're never picking the Lions again ever. All three of us
not happening. Watch them win this week now.
Yeah. I mean,
I won't even care. Like, whatever. You're still a loser to me at this point.
Yeah. I'm hopping off that Lions. I don't even think I was on their bandwagon, but anyways, the Jets who I thought the Lions were. They have a win over the Titans. They have a win over the Bengals, 2 teams that would make the playoffs today. That's fucking crazy because they're the New York Jets, and they're doing it with Mike White. I called him Walter White a couple times on Sunday. Just because I was like, who the hell is this?
Because he's cooking.
Yeah, because he's cooking. Because he's. Yeah. I like that. Another name I thought just randomly that I thought would have gotten traded today was Jamison Crowder, but I guess that those plans didn't go through. Anyways, these Bengals, I think they have a good squad. I think they're very young and they still have a lot to improve on, but I just don't think they're to be trusted. And this should have been a shoe-in. This should have been like a 45-10 game, in which they would have made a statement in the AFC. They would have been the 1 seed if they won this game. I don't think the Bengals can be trusted all too much. I think the spotlight still might be a little too bright for them because they are a young squad. They still have a lot of young pieces that are still building chemistry because Joe Burrow wasn't there for the last half of last season. I'm just looking at Jamar Chase's stats. He didn't have a crazy game like I thought he would have.
I think he dropped a touchdown too.
Yeah, he had 3 for 32 and a touchdown. Michael Carter looks really good. I will say that.
Yeah.
He's sort of a fantasy darling now that he's getting involved in the passing game as well.
But on my bench this week.
He's probably on a lot of waiver wires, but if you're like me and James Robinson's hurt, Derrick Henry's hurt, David Montgomery's hurt, give me fucking
again. Every running back in the NFL is hurt. Every single one.
Yep.
Every single one besides Alvin Kamara.
We talked about that though. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here with Alvin Kamara. I mean, Mark Ingram is now back in the offense. We're going to get Taysom Hill back. We're going to get Michael Thomas back. Alvin Kamara's production, I can almost guarantee, is about to drop. Like, it's going to be bad. If you own Alvin Kamara, I would maybe try to sell him for cheap.
Well, it's already kind of dropped this season.
Yeah, like honestly. It hasn't been fantastic as is, but you get Mark Ingram back in the offense and he's going to be splitting more and more touches as he, gets into the offense again. Taysom Hill, whenever he's in, Alvin Kamara's production goes down. And then as far as targets go, Michael Thomas is going to be getting a hell of a lot more when he comes back. So Alvin Kamara's production, there's no way it goes up or stays the same from here. It's only going to go down.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Is it possible that Alvin Kamara has been having the best season because teams are just stacking the box against him because they know he's getting the ball? Because they know there's no other option on that offense. Who the hell else are they going to throw to? You scared of Marquez Callaway? I'm not.
But that's what I'm saying, though. But you get Michael Thomas back, and he's going to be getting targets. And then when he gets targets, that makes it easier for Marquez Callaway or Deontay Harris when he gets downfield. I feel like his targets go down. And then with Mark Ingram back there, the whole reason we got Mark Ingram was to bring down Alvin Kamara's usage because we don't want him to end up like Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, somebody like that, where he gets hurt because we're using him so much.
I will say
I would be very iffy about Alvin Kamara going forward.
I will say I think it actually works in his favor that these players are coming back and the fact that Trevor Siemian's going to be starting because are you looking at the Braves game?
No. I'm just happy that you're agreeing with my with my thought process there. Are the Braves winning though?
They are winning.
Yes. Fuck the Astros. Anyway.
I think it might work out in his favor a little bit because Trevor Siemian, he's going to need that safety blanket to sort of get involved or not involved, but to get like the juices flowing again, get involved in this offense, get it going, get it rolling. He hasn't started since 2018. He might have had a start for the Vikings. Actually, I'm not really sure. But Yeah, I think it actually works in his favor that, Jameis Winston isn't there anymore. You're not going to be chucking the ball down the field all too much or as much as he did. But we'll see. I mean,
I mentioned that we're 13-3 with backup quarterbacks since 2019. Every time Drew Brees was out, Alvin Kamara's production went down. Every time there's a different quarterback in there, Alvin Kamara's production went down. There's just a lot not going in his favor in this situation is all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I do want to say it pertaining to the game that we were actually talking about in the Jets Bengals. Yeah, as we might have forgotten about. For Michael Carter owners, I did win this week in actually all of my leagues, but like I had to watch Michael Carter drop 27 points on my bench after I decided to bench him this week for Khalil Herbert, who didn't really do much. But I mean, for fantasy owners of Michael Carter, having Mike White as a starter is fucking just perfect because Mike White, every game he's been in so far, every receiver he's targeting is named Michael Carter. Like it's just every throw is a drop down to Michael Carter. It's amazing how much he's just like, all right, nobody's open. He's not. It feels like he's not even looking. He's not even looking at the receivers downfield. He's just like, oh, there's Michael Carter for 2 yards. So yes, I will definitely be starting Michael Carter next week and watch him do absolutely nothing. All right. Let's move. By the way, Bengals are going to be fine. All right. The Jets are a very trap game-esque team. So I'm not really worried about them.
It reminds me of like when they went, like it reminds me of the Ravens with them losing to the Bengals the prior week. Like they had a lot of big wins leading up to that, and this one just got the best of them.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, Thursday night football game. Speaking of the Jets, is going to be between the two teams we just actually discussed, the Jets and the Colts. So, Luke, I will throw it over to you. Who do you have winning this game, even though I have an inkling of who you might say?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Colts.
No way.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Colts. I don't think there's any way in hell Mike White produces like that again. 405 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did throw the 2 picks, but still, I mean, what more can you ask for out of a backup quarterback in his first start ever up against a team like the Bengals? Anyways, I do want to say I think it's very refreshing seeing a rejuvenated New York Jets backfield, a team that historically that's been sort of predicated on running the ball. Haven't had the running back to do so the past couple of years. I mean, they had that stint with Le'Veon Bell a couple of years ago. I think really their last decent running back was probably Matt Forte when he went there.
I forgot when they had Matt Forte.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just nice seeing them be able to run the ball again. Ty Johnson had a decent game too, but yeah, whatever. So I'm going with the Colts. I don't think there's any way that the Jets could win this game. I think the Colts defense is too good. It's in Indianapolis. Colts are coming off a game where they're biting themselves because they kind of threw it away at the end there. They quite literally did throw it away in the end there. I'm going to go Colts. Give me Colts 28-14. Player of the game. I don't know if I've gotten a single player of the game, and I probably won't for the rest of the season.
I think we've all been struggling with it lately.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor. That's my guy. Loved him at Wisconsin. About to go see him versus the Bills in 3 weeks from Sunday. So, yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah, give me the Colts all day.
I am going to take the Colts as well. I know I was just ranting and raving about how Mike White could potentially be better than Zach Wilson, but that doesn't mean that he's good enough to beat this Colts defense, and I don't think that he will. He had a really good game last week, and I don't want to take away from that, other than the 2 interceptions, of course. But I definitely don't see the Jets going back-to-back. I feel like this was a one-off for them. I think that the Colts are going to win at 31-21, and my player of the game is going to be Michael Pittman.
Stole mine. Yeah.
We left him with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, no. All right, yeah. I am definitely taking the Colts in this game. I mean, they're just so much better of a team than the Jets. I've said it multiple times. Like on paper, like you go through every level of this Colts team, you're like, damn, like they're maybe not amazing anywhere, but they're solid everywhere. That's kind of the mantra of this Colts team is just to play solid football. John Taylor's a beast. I do think he's gonna have a great game, but I guess I'm left with Carson Wentz for my player of the game.
You take Darius Leonard.
I could take Darius Leonard. That might be a good one. That might take, especially with how much he throws it to the flats.
Yeah, pick Quentin Nelson.
I can't go wrong taking Quentin Nelson. Actually, that's actually a good point. I really can't go wrong taking Quentin Nelson because how are you going to prove to me he wasn't the player of the game?
I mean, And then you kind of steal Luke's thunder there too, because if Jonathan Taylor has a good game, that means that Quentin Nelson
had a great game. I'm gonna go with Quentin Nelson. You know, that's definitely what I'm saying right now. I'm saying Quentin Nelson for player of the game. I don't think that's crazy. For my score prediction, let's go 24-16. I'll go Colts. And yeah, I don't expect this. Those 6 points I assume is going to be at the end of the game when the Jets just got a touchdown, then miss
garbage time
conversion. Yeah. And then give me Elijah Vera Tucker to have an illegal hands to the face penalty in this game also.
Okay.
It's good. I like that actually.
Yeah.
Let me give me the Jets to have 2 illegal block in the backs on back to back punts.
Back-to-back punts.
You know what? You're gonna make me do it. Give me the Jets defense to have a delay of game.
The defense
will have a delay of game.
Wow.
All right.
How does that even happen? How does that happen?
I was actually very confused about that this past week. I forget what game it was. I think it was the Vikings-Cowboys game. Mike Zimmer, they were trying to call back-to-back timeouts. And because of that, it causes a delay of game, I guess. So you can do it, but you have to then take the yards. So there we go. That's the thing. You learn something new every day.
Then why the hell does it matter and let you do it?
I don't know.
Because Madden sucks.
Madden does suck.
Because Madden sucks.
Luke's got the answers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I refuse to buy Madden until they fix it or make it better. So
you're just not going to buy Madden is what I'm
just not. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to buy Madden. I got to the point, 8 years in of buying it where I'm like, this is the same game every single year with roster updates. And then I was like, yeah, I'm done with it. Franchise mode hasn't changed in like 6 years.
Yeah. Franchise is better now. They did just revamp. They just revamped it last month.
They brought back some of the old features.
Yeah, the old scouting
took out for who knows why.
Yeah. I will say
the scouting was a bunch of bullshit. Because I remember I used to do franchise like GM, and the scouting, this guy would run he would have A's in all 4-4, like in the 40, and then you draft him and he's a 62 overall in the first round. You're like, what the fuck is this draft combine for then? And if none of these numbers mean.
And he has all A's and everything, and you take it in the first round like he's graded, and then it tells you that you're reaching.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? You had him as your number 1 ranked player of the first overall pick. What the fuck do you mean I'm reaching? It's like 70s ranked 72nd overall in pure talent. It's like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And then the one player that I actually did get right, I took with the 20th overall pick, and it was a safety that did absolutely nothing. He was 80 overall. It was best player in the draft. I'm like, and it's a safety? Are you fucking kidding me? Not the 5 quarterbacks I took before this. I can go on so many rants about Madden.
But I do want to take a moment. EA, if you're listening, we actually, this is just it's satire.
It's just banter. It's just banter. That's all it is. We don't mean it. I fight with my sister sometimes.
No,
I tell her I want to slap her, but that doesn't mean
Luke might mean it, but
it doesn't mean I don't love her.
Still.
Yeah.
Sponsor Jake and Gage, and I'll keep it real on this podcast.
Only me and Gage will do the ad reads. Luke will just be like, nah.
Yeah.
Give me 2K5, NFL 2K5. Play that all day.
2K's coming out with I don't know if they could do a Madden type game. I don't think they could do. I think they have to make it like an arcade, they can't make
it's a different
simulation
type of game. Honestly, if we're gonna be honest, the best football game out there right now is Retro Bowl. Have you guys played Retro Bowl?
Yes,
have not.
I've been playing the shit out of
crazy addicting. I have. Let me just put this in perspective. I have not been addicted to an iPhone game since middle school. So we're talking 6 years ago. I've tried every game that you could possibly. Clash of Clans was the last one I was addicted to. And in middle school, Clash Royale, I couldn't get addicted to it. All the games everybody was getting addicted to, I tried all of them, could not get addicted to any of them. Just to the point where I deleted every single game off of my phone. It was just purely apps. Retro Bowl, I am literally playing every second of the day, and it is not getting old. This game is fucking awesome. It has let's be real. Its features are better than Madden. Okay, agree? Do you agree? You can hire coaches that can upgrade stars and everything. You can deal with the salary cap. You can upgrade that. You can upgrade stadiums. You can upgrade all of this shit. You can sign free agents. You can draft players. You can trade. All of
It's
this
got
shit.
better scouting than Madden does.
It does. It's got so much better scouting than Madden. This game is way better than Madden Mobile too, and that's it. That's saying
Exactly.
something right there.
Madden Mobile is nothing.
Yeah. And with that being said, Retro Bowl, if you're listening.
Also, yes, whatever game creator, I don't know who creates you, but thank you so much. We really appreciate you do.
They make a soccer game too. Extremely difficult. So hard.
Shit.
That's what she said.
Now
we should probably end this. Huh?
And how else to end it right there? Then right there. What were you gonna say, Luke?
I was gonna say the football game I'm addicted to right now is Rocket League. I've been on that grind for a couple days now.
Football.
Football. Yes. Football. Because we're cultured here on the Totally Unqualified podcast. We know.
Yeah, we know. Rocket League is another one. I sucked at it, so I never got. I played it so much too.
It's hard. It's hard as hell.
I just could never get to. My friends are playing it 3 minutes a day, and they're just gods at it, and I'm just sitting here. I can't.
Everybody in my house, we had like 7 TVs downstairs, and we had like a little LAN party the other day.
LAN party, yeah. Oh my gosh! All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys haven't already, make sure to go follow us on our social medias. That is at Jake Maltese 3 for me. That's at Extra Points for Gage. That is at Football Fan Zone for Luke. Make sure to follow us on all of our Totally Unqualified accounts as well. You guys have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, just make sure to go download the Overtime app. It's Sports Meets Social Media, like Jake said earlier. Big update the other day. Helps us out a ton as well. If you like sports, if you like something like Twitter, it's pretty much just like that. All your sports updates. They have polls, they have games, they have new stuff every single week. Make sure to go download the Overtime app.
Absolutely. And we haven't talked about it much, but I do just want to say real quick, we do have a charity fantasy football league with a bunch of your favorite creators on TikTok. So if you guys want to go check that out at the link in our bios, you can donate to the GoFundMe there. And the winner of the charity league will be donating all the money that's raised to the charity of their choice. So it helps us out a ton. It helps out a charity a ton. You would be doing a great service. And we might have a little incentive coming up soon. We won't announce it just yet, but there might be a little giveaway dealing with that charity league. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, strong emphasis on might, right?
Might.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
yeah, we'll see. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys in the next one.